Hey, this is Robert, and thank you for tuning in to Station Square. Oh, wait, 1 second. There we go. Thank you for tuning in to Station Square. We had some tech issues earlier, but we managed to figure that out. But regardless, hope everybody's doing well out there. And I just wanted to get right to the chase and introduce our lovely guest in the corner, Woody Scott. So thank you so much for joining me for today, and we're just going to be chatting for a little bit and just discuss what's been happening in the world of voiceover.
All right. Well, it's been an interesting journey. And it continues to evolve.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I didn't anticipate, you know, how involved voiceover was. I have uh, been involved with music and theater and teaching that and English. And so when I retired, I was using my voice for the Virginia Screenwriters Forum, where film directors would come in with possible scripts and they want them read aloud to see what direction they might want to go. Yeah. And so that evolved into a link to somebody who was involved in the business who referred me to my voiceover coach. And so then we started, that journey, from there. So, uh, what can I tell you? I mean, I started in a closet like a lot of people. I didn't know anything about acoustics. Um, Tried to get recommendations for um, microphones and soundproofing and whatever else I could do, and had no idea uh, what would be required of my knowledge of the computer and recording and waves, and the fact that my computer might not hold an audiobook and then you lose the audiobook. So, yeah, it was devastating. So from that point on, I tried to make sure that would become a little bit more astute in working, learning the ropes of equipment, and got in touch with some really great people that helped me develop the booth that I'm in now. And one of those was George Whittam and Edgerton and Roy Yokelson. And uh, they made sure that everything that I had was in good shape. So that's you know how it got me to this point and learning. And the other part is like going through marketing, technically how to build a website, the logistics of marketing, and what will work for me and what might not work for me. So um, that's mm, so anyway, that's a learning curve on social media. Um, and that continues to grow because there are some things that can work and some things that might not work as well. And I'm still exploring that. There was a suggestion once about using video to help market, and I've done that. I got went to a company, and will find something appropriate. I sort of like float through them and see what will what idea will come up. And then I'll adapt the video to whatever it is that I think I want to say. So that has gotten some attention. I usually do that I do it on LinkedIn and X, Twitter, and and Instagram some. So But, anyway, that's, where I am. I'm not sure what else you would like me to share.
Yeah, because I was just saying that everything had been like literally for the past couple of years has kind of been a little topsy-turvy when it comes to the to VO and just everything else. So it's kind of like I mean, and it's so true with what you said with remote recording because sorry. Whenever we record from home, it's kind of like, yeah, I know that everything's kind of been like, I don't really know how to say it, but it's kind of like we're kind of moving into a direction where it's like, okay, so we know how to do this. We kind of adapted to the changes that has been happening, and we're kind of still in the process of navigating through it all. But long story short, I think that a lot of changes have been for the better. And there might be, I mean, yeah, like I know that you have to be in a like, I mean, sometimes I I don't know how it is. It depends from studio to studio where you have to be like at a major hub for like if you want to do this professionally, like if you want to get into animation, there's Los Angeles and
Mm,
then there's Texas for anime
okay.
and so on and so forth. So it's kind of like, you know, the sky's the limit and there's a lot of, you know, resources available out there and we're
Yep.
still getting new stuff every day, like new actors, new equipment, new just new everything, you know?
Yeah.
And it
It's a
just never
lot of
stops.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
lot of fun. I one of the things that I'm looking into, I had found some letters that were written to my father during World War II. And actually, some of the people I knew. So I had sort of in the way in the back of my head, so could sort of remember some of the voices. So I've recorded all the letters. And so now I'm getting where I'm putting video and the music and everything, behind it, but it's deciding, well, what is the best way to market, and how do I want to do that? And I didn't realize, like what you do, is the consistency of your podcast or whatever you're putting out there. But it seems, a message I saw the other day, it just depends on what is consistent for you. How maybe you can address it better, how to get the traffic to, stay tuned. So is it once a week? Is it once every 2 weeks, or, that kind of a thing? So I don't know how you podcast every week or every day?
Probably around, well, this week is actually every day. It kind of depends. Like, I can do like one or two episodes a week, but this week is literally just packed. I literally got another one after this one. So,
Whoa,
yeah.
sorry. Okay. So anyway, it's looking at
So, yeah,
that.
it just, it never stops.
No, and, so the voices are a lot of fun, and I enjoy doing, what you're an expert at as the animation and video games, coming up with those voices, and so, while I'm waiting for my, number to come up, I plan on developing that for myself, in some way, to use the characters, to create the characters, to, see what happens. Um, I just think, I came in this business to use my voice and to enjoy it and have fun. And I've also learned that there is so much more to it. And especially, the marketing end of it that doesn't, vary. I've also learned a lot about pay to plays, and that has been an education. And I was able to score, a few projects on that. But since now AI has come in, there are a couple of the pay to play, that do not say they will not use your voice for AI. So makes me a little apprehensive for some of them. Um, So, uh, but then the on the pay to pays, I found I got lost in algorithms. So I would be getting um, auditions for somebody that was not um, who I am, age wise, ethnicity, any of that. Um, and I couldn't fight it. So I decided maybe this is not where I'm supposed to be. So anyway, that's some of the other things that I found out on the way. I didn't know anything about some of the other low paying agencies, um, and how some people will want more. How shall I say? They want gravy for the brain, quality audition, but for for a low cost. But they want a lot of your time, as for that. So that's I didn't know anything, about that. Um, I in the audiobooks, I belong to a couple of groups on that, and found that that has changed a lot since I did my first audiobook, and trying to navigate all the ins and outs of what is happening in that industry. The good news is that there's a lot of fun, interesting creative things for voiceovers to do, and you just have to think about uh, what you want. By happenstance, I did a voiceover for a film recently. It was from the Virginia Screenwriters Forum, and it was the first time it was. When you're looking at the screenwriters forum, you're looking at a lot of people who are direct, and you have actors and everything in it. So the one that I was in was only voice. So they had a presentation of everybody and all their films. And I got the opportunity to hear people laugh at what I did. I thought, oh wow, there's a reaction. There's, this is what we do. I don't know. Have you found that in your journey?
Found
Just feedback.
feedback or something.
Yeah. From what you do, the voices, or they will somebody say, "Oh, Robert, you've done a fantastic job. This is exactly what we're looking for," or to have somebody watch what you did and say, "That is really awesome." You know, so y-
Yeah.
anyway, it's like So when you get that anything, it's like, oh, I have a voice, and it made a difference. So, for somebody, of course, that's over with. Now now we're, you know, doing our other things. Uh, anyway, that's my journey has, been one where you're just searching and believing in yourself. You know what you can do, and you wait for maybe that 4 seconds where a talent agent might hear something in your voice, and want to work with you. So uh, it's really good. So
Um, wow, I think I literally just realized I haven't even asked any questions.
I'm
Uh,
sorry.
no, it's okay. It's all good, but at least you've answered quite a few of them. Quite a, regarding, feedback and, everything else. So I guess for my first, I guess, legitimate question, like, I know that this year has kind of been like, I usually have asked like, oh, so 2023 has kind of been like, it's been the busiest year so far, or da 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 da. But um, I mean, for you personally, like, with everything that you've done this year, like, what have been some of the biggest surprises that you've experienced so far?
Ah,
That
well,
you were the most shocked? Yeah.
I think it's the breadth of how you can market yourself, and that keeps expanding. And sometimes it's for things that aren't for pay. And I do that with I read for a .org for people who can't see, and so having that is been a positive support for me as I travel along this journey. What I just mentioned, was having a reaction to a voice, because when you're going through it and you're not getting the things aren't happening as you thought that they would, that you do make a difference. Um, let's see, the other part of your question was unexpected. Um, I think that the film thing was probably the most unexpected um, happening, for me. It was really the first professional voiceover that I did. And and working with directors, telling me, well, can you do this? Can you do that? And then having a product come out, exactly as they want. So I guess that would be it.
Yeah. And so when you first got your start into VO, like coming from a background of theater, like was it a smooth transition or was it still kind of like you kind of like there was still a lot that you had to learn before you actually made the dive into doing this full time?
I think it was gradual. One thing seemed to happen after another, with the introduction to my coach and the business in general. I didn't know really anything about voiceover. I just knew that I could use my voice. I knew people did commercials. I thought, okay, that sounds good. So, but it's yeah, the journey. It was just a continual revelation, and it still is. Nothing is ends really. It leads from one creation, to the next, and you just try to take it all in the best you can. So.
Yeah, totally. Um, and it's kind of like with basically, uh, it's kind of like when you make that big move for the transition, it's kind of like, um, when you start something for the first time, it's like, oh, okay, this feels kind of weird, but over time, it kind of flows. You know what I mean? It just
Yes,
gets a little bit easier over time. Yeah.
it does, and
I mean,
again,
with some hurdles, with some curves along, but you know what I
mhm,
mean. Same with
yeah,
life.
yes, yes, it was, as I say, there would be, something I would learn, every week, about, the voiceover, about, what I do as a performer or about the business. And that's exciting, so I'm, uh, happy
Yeah,
with how things are evolving.
yeah,
So.
definitely. Um, so what is something that you like to do? Like, I usually ask like hobbies. So, is there anything that you're picking up that has also been helping you alongside voiceover?
Oh, well, again, I do the recordings for the .org, but I really like to have fun. And I like history and novels, reading when I get time, to do them. Um, I'm outside as often as I can, gardening, and I also go to the gym, believe it or not. So those are all things that are facet.
Fitness.
What?
I said fitness.
Yes, fitness, because you're sitting. So yeah, it's those are the things that in general that I like to do over time. So, but anyway,
Ye-
that's
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, And what are some of the biggest challenges, or at least some of the biggest, like, I know there's a lot of pros and cons of working full time as a voiceover artist. Like, what have been some of your biggest, like, pros and cons? What do you
not
enjoy
enough.
the most, and what are some of the, hurdles that you personally
I
have?
think I think it's not having enough hours in the day. Uh,
Totally.
so it's finding the time to do specific kinds of marketing, time to practice, time to donate your time, and time for creation, on your own. So that would have to be the balance that I keep still, working on, for myself is, trying to find that balance to do all the things that I like to do, all the things that I need to do. Um,
Oh yeah. Um, there's a lot of different like, you know, caveats that we go through like when we're working full time. Like there's so many, everybody's completely different and nobody is like, oh, I kind of go through the same thing that somebody else is. I mean,
yeah.
it's kind of like when we start our journeys, like nobody really starts off on the same path. Like all of us came from
Mm,
like different backgrounds. So it's kind of like
yes.
what can work for somebody isn't going to work for the next, or XYZ, vice versa. So it's just kind of really not, because if everybody was the same, it would be completely boring. It really would.
It is, but it's interesting hearing what other people go through and what their journeys are. And as you say, there are those common denominators that we, run into, and good reminders of, not double checking yourself all the time or thinking too much. Just, trying to enjoy the moment, a moment, and and go from there. Because a lot of times when you're listening, you learn. Um, that's how I view it.
Oh, totally. Um, and at the end of the day, like all of this is completely like, this is why you love doing this. So what was something in your life that made you remember why you fell in love with acting?
Oh, boy, everything is so tied together because I was fortunate that my parents were able to give me tap dancing lessons and piano lessons and voice lessons. So it seems to have evolved. And of course, there's always high school theater, which is where my nickname came from. And then there wasn't too much in college, but it was afterwards, and I hooked up with area theater, and continued working that way. So yeah, uh, it's just like one path leads into another. That seems to be how life has evolved, and so I just try to pay attention.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely am the same way, or it's just there's that little something that happens and then you're like, you may feel like you're on the verge of giving up on acting, but then something happens and it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I had my first paying gig as an actress about 11 or 12 years ago, and I met my second husband, and so I thought I don't really want to be out at night, and I don't think I want to memorize lines anymore. you know, I can make them up, I can read them, I can do anything you want with them, but that so that took me off, the acting thing, but that's what led to voiceover. So all at the same time. So it's best it's a great world.
Yeah, I totally wholeheartedly, agree with that. And man, there's so much that we could discuss, like, with AI, and there's also like,
Yes.
so much that has been happening in the industry. So,
Yeah.
um, I guess what's something that you can do? I guess my next question is like, what's the best way? Like, I know when it comes to growing, your voiceover business, I know I've asked this like before on the show, but for you personally, how do you conduct yourself on social media, just out of curiosity? Like, I know that this is like something that, my audience can really learn. Like, oh, like whatever you post on there, like that's pretty much is your business. Like you're conducting, people
Right.
can see your personality and, stuff like that. So, what are the pros and cons of, using social media, to grow and whatnot?
Hmm. Well, I have, it's I don't pay I pay attention enough to post something. I don't pay attention to followers or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's just my intent is what I want to put on, and I try to make it fun or somewhat interesting to provoke a thought. I never do anything, political or anything that would um, cause somebody, duress or anything like that. So it's just, more of a poking. For instance, there was a video that it was of a meerkat. And so the cat is looking all around. And so I might have posted something like, "What are you waiting for? You know, you've got today." I try to keep it positive and just to be um, who I am or whatever speaks to me that I see. Um, um, and I figure maybe for wrong, but if that does something for somebody else, and I have fulfilled my role as a voice actor, and as a person that is approachable and possibly easy to work with, and maybe even somewhat interesting. Um, Maybe annoying, I don't know, but that's that's how approach what I do when I post professionally. And I might have a question um, per se, but it's mostly um, the creative part of me that post.
Yeah, definitely. And I know I mentioned AI, but where do you? I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. I mean, I'm kind of scared, but I can only, with what's been going on right now, we can only pray and hope that it's gonna, you know, we'll eventually find a way to work a way around it, or just,
Yeah.
just protect ourselves.
Well, yeah, and I just read yesterday, I think, is that X is Elon Musk has developed something that's better than Chat GPT. I haven't had a chance to read the article further to see what that exactly is, but as you said, it's really about how to protect your voice. But I mean, anybody can go to my website and download something. I mean, it's just out there. I unless the website will offer preventatives from people doing that, I have no idea how we can protect ourselves. I'm waiting to see what happens with the SAG after union strike to see how they will approach it, to protect all their people. And I'm hoping that different. Um, I know that there's one pay to play that has said absolutely no AI. So, but I don't know how they navigate that. So we just hope, as you say, for the best and to be aware as this information comes out that we can pay attention to the ne'er do wells that want to exploit voices.
Yeah, and I guess you can just share what you're working on right now, so we can listen to some, some work that you've been doing right now.
Okay. Well, the most thing that I'm doing right now is working on those letters for World War II. So I'm hoping to get those published and on YouTube. And of course, I have my website um, that has all my voices, the demos, and the single tracks. If that's more of an interest. And I'm just waiting, for that next moment, trying to do that marketing and hoping that, that somebody will hear hear something or trust me that I'm going to come forward, for you with a voice that you want.
Totally. And any last bit of advice or any closing thoughts?
uh, Persevere. I think when you're looking at only maybe possibly 3 to 4 seconds that somebody is listening to your voice, you really have to put that in aside. And you just, get your training, keep up with your training the best that you can, and do the marketing, because that's all I can do, and is to always be ready, navigate, create, and not worry about anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much the best way to close this out on. And oh yeah, what about your socials and any closing? Oh wait, I think you said you're closing. So my bad.
That's all right. You can reach me at woodyscottvo.com. And that's where all my demos and everything are. I'm on social media. I'm on Twitter or X, and Instagram and LinkedIn. And so I try to be, fairly consistent and posting on there. And I'm happy to, talk with you, interact with you, and see if it's possible. Either I'll be a connection for you, or I can do something for you. So life is good. Thank you so much.
Yep, anytime. So I guess to close this out, thank you for watching and stick around for more episodes because there will be plenty more coming this week. So give me, wish me all the best. And until then, I'll see you all next time. And yeah, stay, I guess stay positive. I don't know how to close this, but anyways, I'll see you around. Take care and rock on, break those mics. Not literally, but you know what I mean. Peace. Bye bye.